Hi, everybody. I'm coming to you from the Idea Fitness Convention in Los Angeles. And as you know, I am one for stressing how important happiness is in your life. And that if you don't have it, what are you doing all day? Because that's what life is all about. So I have with me Petra Kolber. And Petra is a happiness expert, a keynote speaker, and a movement motivator. She has 25 years experience presenting around the world and has led workshops in over 20 countries. She's spoken at TEDx, which I'm going to have to find out more about, and consulted for many companies, including Reebok, Gatorade, California Walnuts, and Health Magazine. She writes the health and happiness column for Spry Living Magazine, which reaches 9 million homes each month, and is a spokesperson for Yes Fitness Music. As a 2-time cancer survivor, she is passionate about waking people up to the precious gift of time. Her mission is to inspire people to move more and fear less so they can stretch their dreams, strengthen their courage, muscle, and build an inspired life full of joy and gratitude. Welcome, Petra.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's so wonderful to see your smiling face because you and I have something in common. I'm a 3-time cancer survivor, breast cancer survivor, and 16 surgeries. So I'm glad I'm here, as I know you are, and that's why I think happiness is so important.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm sure while you were going through that, I say happiness is not steady state training, it's interval training for life.
That's right.
Because everyone's definition of happiness is different. And as you know, in going through cancer 3 times, I say, life isn't what happens to us. Life is the way it is. And that's where our greatest challenge is, unfortunately, where the greatest magic happens. But happiness, what I feel is like when we train our happiness muscle, it allows us to enjoy those sweet moments without waiting for the shoe to drop. And in those times when, for you and myself, I'm sure some people out there who are struggling with cancer or loss of any kind, you can stay a little bit more resilient, stay with the grit, and recognize this too shall pass.
And the whole point is when you feel good yourself and you are in good shape, you're able to cope with these things that happen to you much better. So my first question to you is, how did you get into the field of fitness?
I was a dancer for many years, and I actually came over to the U.S. on a cruise ship. And part of my time was spent doing cruise staff duties, which involved teaching this aerobics class at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I had no idea what I was doing. Luckily, I didn't hurt anybody, but it kind of piqued my interest. And long story short, I was in Miami, and I got certified. And I did this thing called step aerobics. I went to the very first ever step aerobics workshop held by Reebok. We thought at the time it was going to be a fad. It ended up being a 15-year trend. And because of that, I was able to move into the fitness world quickly when I moved to New York City because I was one of the few people that taught steps. So I got into the boutique clubs. It was clubs in those days, not gyms, very quickly and began a career in fitness. And what I realized is that with dancing, I was always at the whim of someone else. The person holding the audition. There was a lot of no. And when I moved into fitness, I began to hear a lot of yes. And it changed everything for me. I felt more competent. I felt I had more of a handle on my own career. And I felt I wasn't quite at any dancer at 23, you're old already. Fitness, I saw a bit of a career, even though there was not really a career path. And it was the one place where dance, I had been very much judged by my body. I now could move my body in a healthy way and inspire others to do the same.
That's so inspirational because I think it's really, really important for people to understand. I live in Miami, so I can see you getting off this cruise ship because we have so many of them there. Where did you come from?
Originally, I was from near Liverpool, England. It was the first mega ship. It was called the Holiday by Carnival Cruise Line.
Oh, wow.
And we picked it up in Denmark. It was still being finished. We took it across the ocean, and I remember coming into Miami in, the early 90s. And that's where everyone thinks it was the love boat. It was not the love boat. It was a lot of hard work, but it's also I got to work with a lot of Americans. And so I saw the difference in mindset, too. There was a whole mindset of you can do anything you want.
That's true.
But you have to believe.
Right.
And growing up in England, that's not the way we were brought up. It was don't think too big. Don't get too big for your britches. So it was an interesting, not just changing my body set, it was changing my mindset, which to me is really the key to everything that we do.
So what did you talk about at TEDx?
I actually did a talk, and you can find it online, called The Perfection Detox.
Interesting. And the crux was?
The crux was that we often feel we have to be perfect to be worthy, to start a new business, to get the promotion in the business, to be the best mom. We have to be perfect. When in actuality, for many women especially, it holds us back from being creative because we're so afraid of making a mistake that we don't allow ourselves to tap into our vulnerability and our creativity. And it's something I struggled with for many years as a fitness expert.
Wow, that's interesting. It's funny because you talk about, we're much more in the U.S., much more I can do anything. But still, I know I've been lucky. I was brought up by a very progressive mom, and I've been in business for 57 years. I started at the age of 21. And my mom just always told my sister and I that we could be whoever we wanted to be and do whatever we wanted to do and never to depend on a man to support us. So, but still, in all, I would say the first 30 years that I was in business, I found a lot of women still not ready to go into business. So, was there a time that you felt there was a tipping point in terms of your career?
Yes. I was hired by Reebok to do, it was VHS at the time, giving away my age.
Right.
They're looking for a new face to lead this workout. It was right around the time Nancy Kerrigan, the ice skater, had gotten hit on the knee by Tonya Harding. And it was Nancy Kerrigan and two other incredible athletes, and it was around the Olympics, and they were looking for a fitness athlete. And I auditioned, I got the job, and because of that, I got interviewed, I remember this, for the New York Times. This writer was doing an article about the top 10 rising faces of fitness. And I was so naive, I didn't even realize the enormity of this. And it came out on a Sunday, and it was kind of like a school, high school book. And she said, if you were to vote someone most likely to succeed, it would be Petra Kolber.
Wow, that's quite an honor.
And it was the day before, it was before mobile phones, and all of a sudden my phone was ringing off the hook, and Reebok was calling. Flowers were coming up my door, and I was like, I don't know what just happened, but something is going to change. And it did, and Reebok put me into contract. I was with them for 10 years with the blessing of going around the world inspiring others. And I say at that point, I say you have a job, a career, or a calling. And at that point, I was a job. I was running around teaching 20 aerobics classes, opening up a gym. That day that article came out, I moved into a career.
Fantastic. Well, you have been in the fitness industry and a leader in it for over 25 years. So you've seen a lot of changes. What would you say now is the biggest shift that you're seeing?
I would like to think, I don't know if we're quite there yet. The shift is still very much into high-intensity training, really strength training, functional training, which is all wonderful. I believe the change we are going to see, and it's slowly happening, is around the mindset and mindfulness. We're in a highly driven, anxious world, and what I was talking on this morning is that our body doesn't recognize stress where it's coming from. It could be coming from a high-intensity workout. It could be coming from an accident. It could be coming from an email. It could be coming from an argument. Your body takes on stress the same way. So I believe for an industry where we really want people to be at that optimal, it's no longer enough to talk about the neck down. We have to involve the mental aspect, the psychology of how people feel about themselves. I think and I hope, and maybe I'll be a trendsetter or a leader in this. I hope I am, around bringing in more. I always say, I don't care what you're doing. I care how you feel about what you're doing. So really tapping into the mindset and the emotion.
Well, I can tell you, having done a few interviews while I've been here at IDEA, there are two things that I've noticed. Number one is people are talking about the mindset more, at least the people I've been interviewing. So that's very positive because I'm all about mindset. Number two is that there's a lot of talk. You talked about, well, there weren't gyms and you were in boutiques. I'm hearing that people are saying it's going back to the boutiques from the large gyms.
Yes.
So those are the things I've been hearing, and I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I do, and I think that is because people are craving community. I think the boutiques are working so well, and CrossFit did this, Zumba did this. They created a community. It wasn't about just the workout. It was you're here around other like-minded people. And in a world now where we're seeing the World Health Organization just listed depression as an epidemic.
Really?
And loneliness now is on the rise because we've come so isolated from technology. And I don't want to, technology is a wonderful thing. We get to do this call right now. It's amazing. And we are human beings. We are designed to connect with other human beings. So the boutiques, I think it's really the community aspect. You get to have coffee with your girlfriends, like-minded people around something you love to do. That is, and if the gyms are going to survive, they're going. I would think it's the community aspect that we're going to be focusing on more.
Well, you started something called Moving to Happiness. It's a new program you have. Share with our listeners what prompted you to create this.
As we said, I've been in this industry a long time. And I always say you can only inspire others to the degree that you inspired yourself. And I found myself about 5 years ago, stepping off stage, being very grateful for being on stage, but going, I think I couldn't put my finger on something's missing. I went back to school for positive psychology,
Wow.
which is really recognizing all that's good in the world, not ignoring things that need to be, worked on. And I went, I think this is the missing link. If we can have people strengthen their bodies from a healthy mindset and create goals that build into a bigger life, into a life purpose, into a life of meaning and passion and creativity, that's a workout worth doing. So what I did, I created Moving to Happiness, where I'm not here to change your workout. I'm here to change why you work out. And I did a keynote recently at the American College of Sports Medicine where I invited us as an industry to consider taking weight loss and gene size off the table forever as goals. They might be a stepping stone to someone's goals. But what I do is I invite people now to think of high-powered questions. Because in our industry, we're always trying to find the right answer. I'm like, maybe, so I ask, and maybe your listeners at home, think of something in the past that you are proud of. Because it's often through a challenge. I'm sure you felt proud about how you've gone through cancer 3 times. That's showing you resilience, strength, grit, determination. Maybe you used humor to get through it. I know I used humor to get through my cancer. So that reveals your character strength. And question number 2, what is something right now that energizes you? For you, it's probably still your work. For me, it's my work. I can see that.
Well, because we don't consider it work, and that's what I think. We're talking, this show is women in business. Yeah. And there are a lot of business women that totally get consumed by their business. And I know they love what they do, but it gets to a point where it's almost like this heavy weight that's hanging over their shoulder. So when you can say, I'm not going to work, I'm going to play, I'm going to happiness, I'm going to what I love doing, it's a whole different perspective.
Oh, what a gift. And if that is not your work right now, because maybe you're striving for a job promotion, whatever, is there something outside of work that really lights you up? It could be your grandbabies, it could be having dinner with friends, it could be knitting, it could be whatever. And then third question, what is something in your future that you are excited about? Because that gives you a sense of purpose.
That's right.
Yeah. And if you can tie your fitness goals into the strengths of your past, the passions of your present, and the purpose of the future, then the body and the weight loss is no longer the end goal. It's a vehicle to live a life of meaning and purpose.
And it's probably will get you there quicker. I mean, if you're not worrying about something, it usually gets you there quicker. So, that's amazing. So, but what would you say to somebody who says, fitness is not for me. I mean, I don't like working out, and I don't want to get sweaty, and I don't want to, I don't want to go through all those things. What do you say to somebody like that?
Well, especially if you're a businesswoman, you have to be moving. You need to be moving. It doesn't need to happen in the gym. There's often 2 mentalities to that. The first one is maybe you've tried fitness and you felt like you failed at fitness. I would say no. Fitness failed you. You need to find something that you feel good at, you enjoy. That might be walking, it might be walking with your dog. It doesn't have to happen in the gym. Second thing is I don't have enough time. If I was to tell you as a business, as a leader in business, as a woman in business, you're going to be more creative, you're going to be more likable, you're going to probably have more success,